Wow. The Consumer Price Index, a broad measure of prices for goods and services, rose 8.3% in April. That's up from a year ago. Consumers are seeing higher prices everywhere.
Yep. Record high gas and food prices are partially to blame for some of the rise in inflation.
And many are wondering, will the Federal Reserve take an even tougher stance on interest rates to cool the economy? Moses Altsech from UW-Madison School of Business joins us once again. Good to see you.
Hi, Moses. Good to see you.
Live and in color.
You saved my seat. I appreciate that.
We kept it warm for you. So what's going on with this inflation?
Well, what's going on with this inflation? If hindsight was hindsight is 2020, right? So if only the Fed could know what's going on in mid-2022, they might have done things a little differently in 2021. They probably thought that some of the price increases were maybe temporary, maybe they would be limited to certain sectors of the economy, and they certainly didn't count on a war that created even more disruptions, especially food prices were disproportionately affected by that. Energy prices, the price of oil, which also affects the price of plastics. The supply chains were already strained. Not to mention that who knew that we'd be having massive COVID lockdowns in China in 2022? We thought, we're not talking about that very much anymore, but in China, we're talking about massive lockdowns. Even the supermarkets are closed and people are bringing food to your apartment. So those kinds of things, those people who are stuck in their apartment can't be at the factory making things, can't be shipping things over, supply and demand, prices go up. It's, unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball, and that's really costing us right now.
Is there any good news?
Yeah, there is some good news, actually. It looks like the rate of price increases that we've seen really slowed down in the latest report. So it's not that prices didn't go up, but they went up by a very, very small percentage, which seems to suggest that perhaps we've reached the peak of just how high inflation is going to go, and maybe it's going to start to decline from here. Now, if you expect the decline to be rapid, that's not going to happen. I mean, you saw the price of gas actually dropped, but now the summer driving season is starting, and so it's going back up.
But it went up 13 cents the day before.
So you see, there's the give and take, and we also haven't seen. We were speculating that perhaps the war may be wrapped up by the beginning of May, and that doesn't seem to be happening. Inflation is going to get under control. Under control does not mean that it's going to drop to the levels that we wish it were at. Pulling the handbrake on inflation could also mean pulling the handbrake on an economy that's growing, and that could cause a recession, that could cause layoffs. We've seen that movie before. So the Fed is doing the balancing act, trying to make sure that that doesn't happen, but at the same time trying to reduce inflation, slowly. So should they have started sooner? Should they have done more? Perhaps. But again, hindsight is 2020. They're doing their best. They're an independent entity. Remember, that's not the administration that controls this. It's the Fed. And the rest of us just have to be a little patient and roll with the punches. At least we don't have anybody's tanks rolling down our street. And, perspective is everything.
No, you're right.
And I just checked Google. They're sold out of crystal balls, so we're out of luck. Most good to see you again.
Hey, it's great to be back.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming.